I did get some good news this week.
What is your good news this week?
So there's a Karen Wellington Foundation that my company, Centric Consulting, partnered with to give away some trips to Cabo. And I signed up my friend Linda, who's going through breast cancer, to be a recipient. So she was selected. She in turn sent me an application to the Karen Wellington Foundation, and I won a trip for two to Cincinnati on June 16th to go see Rob Thomas and Matchbox 20.
Fantastic. I saw you
So
post
I'm
about that.
talking to
That's
them now.
amazing.
That's going to work because my buddy doesn't need to fly with me because he's going to be in Columbus. I'm like, hey, if you can fly me to Columbus instead of Cincinnati, I'll get a rental car and just go from there.
Wow, buddy. Congratulations. That's
Yeah, so
good
I'm looking
news.
forward to it. And I'll spend one night in a hotel overnight after the
Great.
concert.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
So give me a chance to come see my family right by my sister's birthday. So
I
that'd be
love
good.
that. That's great news. That's great
Yeah,
news.
I'm excited.
Uh, how are you feeling physically? How are things going for you?
Neuropathy continues in the hands and feet. So like I have to get like go out to eat and get water, no ice, and still they bring it ice cold. I'm like, I have to let it sit there and get warmed up a little bit before I can drink it.
Is it
And
it's in your mouth or is it also in your hands? I mean,
both.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
Is
I
it,
can't
it
put my hand in a freezer and pull something out without hurting.
yeah. Uh and when you're drinking the stuff, is it your mouth or is it your teeth or what is it?
Mostly my tongue.
It's your tongue, right?
Yeah.
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 It's so fun. I just went to the dentist this week. I've got a long history of terrible. I just drew the short straw when it came to dental genetics in my I've had root canals, I've had tons of stuff. I had a couple of things that had sort of like, things that just over time they just broke off. They're just repairs that just broke off and got them all sealed up. This had happened earlier this year. But earlier this year, I'd started getting massive sensitivity to cold. Massive. It was like
Oh,
I was drinking stuff and just kind of going, what's going the same thing where I just had to like warm the stuff up in my mouth and I was kind of going, I don't think it's not a cavity. It doesn't feel like that, right? But it was like fortunately the dentist was able to tell me to say just start using. I've had this before where there's like enamel issues or stuff that happens. He just had me using Sensodyne for a while to kind of just like re-strengthen the enamel. There was just stuff going on where I just got this sensitivity. Anyway, I was in for my cleaning this last week and I had this moment where I went, oh yeah, I'm not feeling that anymore. Like 6 months before I was like, you know,
yeah.
just as you were talking about like drinking anything, I was like going, had to make sure that I hit it in my mouth just right. So it wouldn't be like, right.
Yeah.
Um, but I get it, buddy. I get it. So the neuropathy stuff is happening. How's your rest? Any other crazy dreams for you at all or no?
Always have crazy dreams, but the rest is good. I just need more of it now than before. Like I sleep typically 10 hours a night,
Good.
nine to 10 hours a night, but I'm still tired partway through the day. And then
I
there's
get
some pain in my stomach now that I'm not sure what it's from, if it's from the cancer or if it's from the cancer being healed, or
yeah.
I don't know what that looks like.
Sure enough. You're in session 8 right now, round
8 on
8.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I
Uh,
get my scan the week after.
is that normally how it goes? Is that you get it you go through your sessions and then they scan you every week or they scan
No,
you?
this is only my second set of scan.
Okay, gotcha. Um, just the pain that you're dealing with a little bit in your stomach. No nausea, hair loss, anything like that, or
Yeah, hair's still there.
yeah. You just wanted to wear a cap to look cool.
I did. Well, the hair's thinner now, so it is thinner. It does come out a little bit more like when I shower, but
Sure,
it's still there.
not bad. Um, and any other insights for you this week? I mean, obviously, you're dealing with this thing, which is like the stuff that's just parts of this that are out of your control, or just kind of going, Lord, give me clarity in this scenario right now. Like, I don't know what to do here. Just give me clarity.
It's just about seeking clarity and remembering to approach God with thankfulness to start. Yeah, he understands it when I approach him with anger or frustration. He totally gets it, but I'm trying to be mindful of the fact that, like, I went out and I went to dinner, left work a little early and went out to get some dinner and sat at a restaurant and just ate and took my first bite, put my fork down, prayed a little bit, thanking God,
Yeah.
and then I continued on.
Just listening to I was listening to part of a sermon by Father Mike Schmitz out of Duluth, Minnesota, and he was talking about the prophet Jeremiah, and he was talking about how here was Jeremiah proclaiming to the Jews at that time, like going, guys, you're getting kicked out of Jerusalem. Like, you're going into exile. You're going to be exiled from here. And the Jews at that time saying, we don't want to hear that. That's not what's going to happen. Right. And just consistently like beating them up and doing all this stuff. And then eventually they got overtaken, and most of the Jews got, exiled off to Babylon. And then Jeremiah ends up sticking around with a group of renegade Jews that are still kind of in the area, that they end up going off to Egypt, where Jeremiah goes along with them. And, here's a guy that's been the entire time just doing what God has asked him to do, And again, Jeremiah, I believe, is a prophet that's saying, repeating from the Lord, I know the plans I have for you, they're good plans I have. Well, this completely escape, the things that you remember or don't remember. But Jeremiah is killed by this band of Jews that he goes with in Egypt, right? So here's this prophet that's just like said all of this stuff, like, I'm proclaiming this stuff, and God's saying, don't worry. And I think the interesting take that Father Mike had on that is, in general, and this is a little of my take too, we don't know what God's broader plan is. All that, when you think about Jeremiah is also talking about stuff and talking about, Jesus and the Messiah and everything else to come. Like, all of this stuff is coming, right? And he is playing his part that is necessary for this, right? And knowing that however this works outside of our time and space, that Jeremiah has been honored by God, right? He's been honored by God, but we are still called to just, it's literally God saying, I know this doesn't make sense. I just need you to go to the next step, to go to the next step, to go to the next step, right? Because you are a part of my larger plan, my larger magnificent tapestry, which you can't see.
Right.
And again, from the world's perspective, it looks, if we were to just look at Jeremiah's life to kind of go, yeah, he got it wrong. He died, right? Like, if you just looked at it in his time frame, yeah, he was a crazy guy that said that we wouldn't win. Yeah, he got that part of it right. He didn't win. We all get exiled, but he got what was coming to him anyway. That's how people in Jeremiah's time frame could probably look at it.
Right.
Instead, his stuff is drawn into, thousands of years of our faith, right? And all pointing towards Christ. And it's like, oh no, he's part of a much bigger plan. And I feel like there's some of that, it's not quite uplifting for your situation, but I think that there are these moments that God is calling us to, and we've talked about this before. Get up. This sucks, Lord. I know. Get up.
Yeah.
Get up. Come with me. Come with me. Follow me. Let's go. Let's go. Believe me. Trust me. My magnificent plan will unfold, and you will see it. And it will be beyond our comprehension or understanding. And it will be so magnificent and beautiful. and just, I know that we will. Well, they say that there will be no weeping in heaven, but I'm sure it will be the equivalent of that outburst of joy and just
Joy.
gratitude and thanks. Thank you for having us be a part of it in our way. And I think it will be literally like, it will probably feel so insignificant, right? To kind of go, oh my gosh, it just felt like a drop. I wish I could have given so much more, right? I'm sure that
Right.
there's part
Right.
of it to go, I wish I could have I wish I gave even more, you know?
Yeah,
Hard, man.
it is.
I've had several of these moments this last week where I've just had these just felt frozen. Just felt frozen.
Hmm.
Where there've just been these moments of going, yeah, I'm stuck. And it's like, I know, I know what I need to do. I know what I'm supposed to do. Um, and boy, the spirit inside of me is that that flesh side inside of me wants to rebel so bad and go, no, petulant. I had a moment. I'll share this stuff with you later off of this, but you know, I got some semi good news. This last week there were a couple of wins that happened for me. But even after there was some good stuff that happened for me yesterday. But even after I did that, you know, probably about an hour before I had to go to bed, and I know I hadn't done my prayers for the day.
Hmm.
I know I
Yeah.
hadn't done my prayers for the day, and I told Kate, and I just said, I got to go do my prayers. And I told her, I said, I don't want to. And she said, even after today, even after some of the wins, I said, yeah, I know. It's
Yeah.
weird, right? Like even after my wins. And it is, man, which
That's the key, though. After my wins, that's always the way we think about them. It's human nature.
I did this.
God had nothing to do with it. It's all Kevin.
Well, that's it, right? I mean, it's like, and I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be trivial about this, but, um, we need him in every single moment that we're living. Like we live because he wants it and because he allows it according to his purpose and according to his glory, right? And yet we think that it's all just, well, this is what I want. And again, how many times, Lord, this is the way that I want it. And even Doug, and this could be, this could also be what's going on. It could be like, Lord, this is the way that I thought it was supposed to go. You know, I know, Doug, but I've got something else here
Yeah.
that's supposed to come from this, right? There's something else. Maybe,
Yeah.
right? I mean, how many times have I had that? So many times when I was younger, man. I was convinced that I was going to be regular on a sitcom. Was convinced. Thought, this is the track. This is the way it's going to be. This is how things are going to line up.
You were
And
regular on some car commercials,
I was, yeah, I really was.
and they were
Dodge commercial.
humorous.
They were. I had several of those, man. Well, I had just to share this too. Some of the ones that I have on there. Boy, talk about these moments, right? Uh, I had a series of Dodge commercials that I was in that I was like a replacement person for the audition. My agent had sent somebody else out, and then all of a sudden I was a replacement from my agency. Oh, if somebody can't make it, can we send him in? I ended up going to this audition for this commercial, and it was a series of salespeople on the floor. I ended up becoming the spokesperson that they went to in all the commercials. They ended up putting me in what was supposed to be 1 day of work. It turned into like 8 days of work. And I ended up like in the space of 2 years, I mean, like $160,000 in residuals. Like, it was crazy, crazy, from like 8 days of work, right? And then you had another thing, that probably one of the ones that you saw me in, which was one of these Toyota spots. So I get these Toyota spots. And listen, I'm working with Gary Anthony Williams, who he's been on Whose Line Is It Anyway, and another really talented actor, Frank Noon. And we're working with, gosh darn it, I can't remember the director's name, but he had done like a ton of commercials. Really sweetheart of a guy, fantastic experience, right? And we were working an entire week on that, and we were filming like 14 Toyota commercials. And when I got the news that I booked it, and I'd gone through 3 different versions of callbacks for those spots, and it was like they kept bringing me back. And then when I remember when my agent called me up, and I started crying on the phone, because I just thought, oh my gosh, this is it. Like, my ship is coming. Because in my mind, I thought, if I have booked all of these national commercials, in my mind, I thought I've easily made at least easily $250,000 to $500,000 on this. Like, that's exactly what went through my mind. And then when we showed up on the set and started working on it, the days and how we were rapidly going through the commercials, it didn't line up with how you normally do at that time. I'm talking about, forget when that was. Was it like 2000? Might have been about 2012, 2013. I'm not sure. But back in those days, when you were doing a commercial, it was usually an entire day that we were working on a commercial, and you were doing all of that just to film 30 seconds. Well,
Right.
on these days, when we were going to do this, they were shooting out like 3 commercials, 3 different spots in a day. And they
Wow.
were like, and they didn't feel like, they weren't like the normal 30-second things. They were kind of going longer. They felt like 45-second things. I was like, kind of going, this is odd. This is what are we doing? This doesn't feel like it's a truncated, because you had to be really tight with the timing on it. We find out when we get to the set, these weren't regular commercials that were going on. Instead, what was happening was Toyota had paired up with, I think at that time was Thursday Night Football, that was on NBC. And there was a little halftime show thing that they were doing. And they would go to the announcers to say, hey, here's what's going on. And we're going to do a special thing with great moments in tailgating, a history in the great moments of tailgating. And we were these little 45-second comedy spots. Well, what that meant money-wise was they would pay you just as, like, instead of having it be regular commercials that were running all the time and getting residuals, it was more like almost like a sketch that you would have on the Tonight Show or something like that, where the money went rapidly down, and you just kind of went like, okay, you got paid for your thing in the one time that we showed it, and that was it. So it was what I thought was going to be $250,000 to like $500,000, ended up turning into about $16,000, and it was just like that. And but I remember that week having such great freedom with working on the stuff and professional set. And I remember I walked away that night. We filmed our last spot. It was like on a Friday night. It was down at the old used to be called the Great Western Forum, down in like, it's now near where the huge Rams stadium is, in that area. But I remember I was leaving on a Friday night around midnight, and I was a little sad, because I thought, I don't think it's going to get any better than that. It was, because I knew that the industry was changing, like the money that was involved in commercials and all that stuff was changing. And, for me, I was right. I never had like sort of a big thing like that. I got in a few other spots and stuff, but that experience that week. But my point was, like, with all of this, coming back to what we're talking about, my plans and God's plans are 2 totally different things. And
Right.
I know that there's certain things that if I try to do them the way that I want to do them, I wouldn't need God anymore. I'd be like, I'm good. I'm providing for myself. I'm providing for myself. I'm the one that does it. You know, I'm the master of everything that happens. And, you know, there's got to be there has to be a deferment to realize, like, I get it. Like, there's something about your own personal sovereignty and what you're doing, and you're making sure that you're getting stuff done. Absolutely. But
Hmm.
then we have to realize that there is something greater than us that is also keeping it going, and to honor that, and that we're a part of his creation. So I don't know, for whatever that's worth, you know.
Yeah. It's the recognition that what we're good at ultimately comes from him too.
Yeah.
That's why, people, sometimes in the Christian community laugh at me because I like some secular music, like a lot of secular music. Sometimes it's better than the Christian music.
Yeah.
I said the problem, it's like, well, they're not singing about God. I'm like, they're using the gift God gave them.
Yeah.
They may not recognize it, but they're really good at what they do.
Yeah.
Now, sadly, a lot of them have gone completely the other side of the fence, at least the
How many,
famous ones.
how many times have you heard this? I mean, how many times have you heard those songs and you guys just go, oh my gosh. Like, there's been certain music that I've heard, and I just feel like it could be a love song or something, and just go, oh my gosh, this could be about my relationship with God. Like, it feels
Absolutely.
like that too. And
Yeah.
it's like bigger than that, right?
Rick Springfield, Human Touch.
Yeah, man.
That was one I kept thinking like, and it's really true. It's like we need human touch. We're living in a computerized world. And that was back in the 80s.
Well,
Scary how true that song is today.
yeah, it is. Um, all right, my friend. Well, peace for you with all that. We'll wrap this one up, but we'll keep prayers for you.
Thank you.
You bet, buddy.